$1,600.
That is a
Correct.
monthly fee.
I don't remember seeing this in the past. Did I miss it on the warrants, or is this?
We're going to get into, well, I'm going to give you under my report, the SimQuest report and why we're doing that, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we have that on this report.
Will you get into the firewall ISP charges that are also here?
That's
They're
all
not
in
as
that report.
extensive.
No.
Okay.
Anything else on warrants? All those in favor then of accepting the warrants as presented, please signify by raising your hand. And that's unanimous too, Barb. Committee reports. We had an Ed and Facilities Committee meeting prior to this meeting. So I'm going to ask Ed to give us a report on what we discussed there.
There was no action by the committee at the meeting. However, we did discuss an application strategy for a couple of grants that are available. One of them, we decided that should be pursued, at least to the extent of brainstorming, to find out if we can actually meet the grant requirements and create a summer type program for incoming students. The second grant was part of the Vermont Farm to School program, and we decided that somebody should probably attend the webinars that are given because it's a recurring grant, but we don't see any function in applying for it at this point. The chair also briefly discussed the notes that are available on the solar project for the Mount Anthony building and presumably this building, and that was handed out to the board for review.
Good. Any questions? Okay. Any other committee reports? We canceled the strategic plan. We didn't have any policy. I guess we're good to go then. The cash flow statements, revenue and expenses, anything on those? Any questions at all? All right. Action items. ESP contract approval. You want
Yep.
to take that one?
I was your representative through those after Gloria was ill. You have the contract in the Dropbox. It was approved on the first day of school by the paraeducators. Highlights that, if you really want to know what percentages are, first year is 1.5%, the second year is 2.5%, the third year is a 3% increase, with a 1% increase in the insurance cost to the union member. Minor language changes, all major changes in language that were on the table went by the wayside during the process from both sides, as far as things that were suggested, everything from crossover bumping didn't happen, changes in that did not happen, and basically the contract is, language is intact the way it was, so it really came down to finances and health insurance. And it is as, the grid is there, but the grid won't tell you what the percentage are. The percentages are as I reported to you. I believe the process is all the boards, the association has voted on it, all the boards at their September meetings are also voting on this, and then it will be a signed document after that.
So can I have a motion to accept the ESP contract then as negotiated?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Leon and seconded by Gloria. Any other discussion?
I did look back in my notes. It was, the ground rule meeting was like February 20th, so that's how far it went back and started. That sound about right to you, Gloria?
Yeah.
And I believe we had 8 sessions from then. from then forward to it, with a few minor meetings to work out details.
And refresh my memory, this is how many years?
3-year contract.
This is a 3-year contract.
One of them being this year, the year that we're already in, so it'll be retroactive to the start of the school year.
Okay.
And people under this contract don't see the step increase, is that correct? Or
They do, there are steps in this contract also, yeah.
Yeah, they have groundskeepers, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mhm. Same with maintenance personnel and the secretary, or the administrative assistants, staff. Yep.
No, what I meant was, there's no automatic, in the teacher's contract, there are
Mhm.
step increases that come automatically.
I believe that there is.
Yeah, there are in
Are
this
there?
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go up
Yeah,
all the way
their
Okay, I
to
found
contract-
it.
16.
Yep. So when I say 1.5, it would be 1.5 plus the step. If they were eligible for that step, some are already at the top.
So the total increase is 1.5 across the board?
Plus the step,
Plus the step.
if they were eligible for it.
And not all are.
No.
No. Any other discussion? Then all those in favor of the proposed ESP contract, please signify by raising your hand. Any against? Abstain?
Abstain.
Okay. Did you get that, Barb? Okay. Superintendent's report.
Good evening. First thing I want to talk to you about is how our opening week went, particularly our first 3 days. I gave you a highlight in our August meeting. I want to tell you how it went. We did alter our opening day. We joined the supervisory union for their presentation to their staff in the morning. We thought that the topics that were going to be discussed were relevant to our staff also, so we shifted our morning program and joined them in the auditorium here. The first presentation in the morning was on the Southshire Challenge, as it's called. It's the business community of Bennington developing challenges that teachers and students are going to work on as a group to address a problem or a project that a company or industry or organization or nonprofit might come up with and want students to work together. So those challenges haven't been issued yet as of today, but they will be coming soon. There's going to be, I believe, 8 to 9 challenges that then, once they're posted, then groups of students and their teachers can compete to be the group that will meet that challenge or take on that project for different area businesses. So that went well, and we're waiting to see what those challenges are going to be. Then there was a presentation from Vermont NEA, which I thought was very good, and I thought it was relevant and very helpful to the teaching staff. It was on social media and maintaining the boundaries for teachers in this world of social media. So a lot of good information and on obligations for teachers for reporting and all that. And then after lunch, it became an all CDC event, and we had decided over the summer, the administrators, that we needed some team building here at the CDC. We needed a team building activity. So we did the CDC version of the Great Race. We created teams of staff members, 3-member teams, and basically it was a scavenger hunt through Bennington, centered on the catamounts. And I want to thank Mike and Marie Pia for taking my idea and really running with it and getting enthusiastic with it and putting it on. We have a couple of photos to show you of the highlight. Don't worry, we did the abbreviated version of the So it was the 2013 CD Great Race, and as I said, each team had those are the locations that they had to go to. There were clues with a colored envelope. Each team had a colored T-shirt, so if you had the red shirt, when you got to the monument, you received a red envelope that gave you the clue for where you had to go to your next event. And we had people stationed at each one of these locations to give you the envelope. And what you're going to see is there's the different colored teams at some of the different locations. And there was a clue for each one. We didn't tell them where they had to go. Let's see if I can remember one of the clues. Like the clue for the monument was, I stand by myself October through May, and that's because it's closed. And so and each one had a clue like that. And I have to tell you, I think.
Wait a minute, someone's cheating in there. They've got.
I think the staff had fun, but I also think that we did accomplish what we wanted to, was to get people out of the building and welcome back. Summer's over. Before we hit you with all the required things that we have to tell you when we come back, we'll do a little team building activity. And again, Marie Pierre, Mike, I can't thank you enough for putting that together. I think it went well. It exceeded my expectations. When we brought everybody back, then we rolled out our next initiative. Like you all have, every teacher received an iPad to use in their classroom instruction for this year, and that was to tip off what was going to happen in day 2. In day 2, we called that technical day, technology day, and that involved training on obviously iPads, and that was in the morning. Smartboard training, teacher electronic grade board training, and budget software training, and it was kind of a round robin with people going to different trainings during the day as for what they needed for their technical training. Day 3, if you remember, we have 3 days with the teachers that do professional development. The next 2 days is there. So day 3 of our day with them, again, Marie Pierre, who had recently taken a course for her certification, she conducted a workshop based on what she had learned on harassment and what constitutes harassment, what constitutes bullying. And we don't just pick these topics. I get a letter from the Secretary of Education at the beginning of every school year, and it outlines what we have to make sure that we review with our staff, and that is one of them. So that was the morning of day 3, and then in the afternoon, day 3. And some of this is a repeat of what I told you in August, but the Bennington Police Department came in and conducted a workshop on Know Your Community, which I think the staff found very informative. Talked about the makeup of a lot on domestic issues and what they deal with, and the percentage of how much that flows into our classrooms and our students. And I think any time we can have our staff pause, myself included, pause and think about what our students might be dealing with outside of the classroom, it helps us maybe just a little bit more understand what they're dealing with and how we can alter our approach to students to make it more positive. So I think the opening went pretty well. Got a lot of positive comments. I wasn't too sure how our opening great race was going to go. I expected a little skepticism and, I don't play games attitude, but no, everybody seemed to be a great sport. Everybody participated, and the weather held, even though we did have umbrellas ready, but the weather did hold. I think probably only a couple of teams got really off track and off course, so that did go well. Ed asked about the SimQuest. SimQuest is a vendor that we use from everything from buying toner cartridges to help maintain our network. Our financial audit last year identified that and requested that we should do this, or strongly recommended that we should have an assessment done of our network, because all our financials are kept on our network. So they want to know how vulnerable is this, and where the weaknesses are. So we contracted with SimQuest to conduct a technical assistance study to determine the current state and stability of our networking environment. That was done last spring. We got the executive summary. I'm going to have Mike go over that with you in a minute. That'll show the weaknesses that were identified and the progress that we've made in correcting it. We have that $1,600 monthly fee from SimQuest. If you remember, and I know we've talked about this before, so I'll just have to remind you, you authorized us last year to hire a second individual for the tech department, where we had one. And then the option that we went with was to contract with SimQuest to do the monitoring of our network, and we're under contract for repairs with them. We're paying them and the one technician is less money than what the two salaries would have been, plus there's only one benefit package. So that's the option that we're going with right now. Mike can explain that in a little bit more technical detail, but what I'd like him to bring up right now is the slide from the executive summary that'll show where our problems were, and he's going to give you an update. And this chart is from last spring, but we'll give you an update of the progress. Go ahead, Mike.
So this report was put out on April 25th was when this was done. SimQuest came in at the request of us to do this network assessment, and it was one day on site and between 2.5 and 3 weeks of remote monitoring and checking and testing and things like that. So it's a very thorough report.
Can you explain what they mean by remote monitoring? Because
certainly. SimQuest came in, and they put some agents on the servers that allow them to monitor it remotely, basically, is what it is, from their headquarters in Burlington or in Keene to do testing on the network for security purposes, vulnerabilities, weaknesses, strengths, etc. It's kind of a common practice in today's technology world to remotely monitor and check on things. So it was about a day on site, 2.5 to 3 weeks of monitoring to produce this document, which is actually 25 pages in length. Each one of these goes into great detail. We're showing you this page tonight, and I'll explain them to you. The rest of it is very technical, and some of it exposes our network to vulnerabilities, so we don't want to air that here on TV. So there's 3 categories: red, yellow, and green.
this is in your Dropbox too, sorry.
Red indicates critical, business critical systems currently at risk and do not meet minimum requirements for SimQuest to take on that liability. Yellow indicates systems that meet minimum standards, and green indicates systems that meet current criteria and conform to best practices. So what we have here, the first one on red is backup. SimQuest identified that we had no backup strategy discovered on the network. They couldn't find any instances of backups running on the network. That has since been corrected. That is not 100% complete. We are backed up at this point. We are putting some new hardware in place very soon to meet the capacity needs of it. We have a lot of storage space that needs to be backed up, terabytes worth. But critical data is now backed up on the network that has been remediated. The next one is antivirus software. Again, this is a check of our servers, not workstations in the classroom, strictly the infrastructure piece. Servers were found to have viruses on them. Not all servers had agents on them. When I say agents, antivirus software, basically, which is a business impact, security. When there's malware and Trojans and things like that on the servers, that can cause havoc later on. That has been taken care of as well. All servers now have agents on them and antivirus. They have been cleaned up. They are patched. All virus infections have been removed as of date, and all the agents are installed on those machines at this point. To give you an example of what our network is, we have currently 5 physical servers, 3 virtual servers, 1 firewall, 5 switches, and 400 plus machines out in the production field. So there's a lot on our network, but again, this is just a server environment. Number 3, VMware. VMware stands for virtual machines. It's a new trend in computing where we virtualize servers. There's 1 physical server and a bunch of virtual machines on it. It allows for rapid deployment, rapid recovery, and it's much more cost efficient to only maintain 1 box and multiple machines on it, basically. That VMware box was found to have configuration issues. It's an infrastructure issue. Those have been corrected and remedied. The VMware box is now fully operational, fully licensed, backed up, and populated to our network. CDC Server 1, which is our main domain controller, also that's storage for faculty and staff work, student data, etc. It's found to have event log errors, and what that can mean is anything from security problems to applications that aren't running that need to be corrected and remedied and monitored because they have a potential to have big impact later on down the road. There are multiple event logs that need to be corrected. That has now been done and continues to be done. Event logs happen all the time. A correction today doesn't mean it's fixed tomorrow. It's an ongoing process. But they are done and continually done at this point. Number 5, Dell Open Manage. What that is, we have all Dell servers in the building. I'm a big believer in Dell. They stay behind their products, and we've had very good luck with Dell. Dell Open Manage is a piece of software, essentially, that allows system administrators and computer technicians to remotely monitor their servers, to have email alerts when things go wrong with them with their hardware or software. Maybe a fan fails in the middle of the night, you can get an alert on it, and things like that. And that's a really oversimplified explanation of what Dell Open Manage is, but that's the basis behind it. That is now installed in all the servers. It is working properly. It's been fixed. The last item in red is the CDC storage server. About a year ago, a little over a year ago, we had that storage server lost a hard drive, which normally isn't a problem because they are rated, which is internal backups. However, we lost multiple hard drives in that system, so it was a forensic recovery to get data back. And we got most of that back and put the data on a workstation in the interim, just so people could connect to that. When SimQuest was here, they found that server was still running on that workstation, which is in a server class environment. That has now been taken off there, been virtualized, and put onto our virtual host appliance. So it's back running the proper operating system, and it's backed up. Storage server holds everything from administrative software, faculty data, financial data, etc. There's quite a bit on there. It's a storage server. And the item in yellow, which is disk space is low on the server, that's something that we're working on. We know it's low on the server. It is just is what it is. It's being monitored. The space is being cleaned up periodically. There is a project in place for December to have that remediated. It's in yellow because it's an item of concern, but it's not a business critical function where we're going to have problems tomorrow with it. That's not the case. So this is the executive summary chart of what needed to be addressed. And I've told you they've all been addressed at this point and continue to be. Questions on this portion?
Jackie?
Well, I particularly would like to say what a great thing this is. I mean, for the amount of money that you're spending, you're getting like 5 people, at least from my purview. And from what I see is, as you instruct teachers, you're going to need more and more and more space.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? Mike, the tasks that they've projected that
Yes.
should happen, do they work with you in accomplishing that? For example, the backup, did they help you design the plan?
Yes, so kind of what Ed had asked and Jim had touched on, what they do for us with this monthly recurring fee. If it has to do with hardware and networking in our environment, they take care of it at this point, including recommendations for project implementation. This is the amount of space we think you need based on the amount of data you currently have, what's a year down the road, what's 2 years down the road, et cetera, to put those strategies in place. They also help us design best practices for the network. We have a new internet service that we've been waiting for a changeover for quite some time, from a 10 meg service to a 100 meg service, and that's a huge upturn that we need in the building. What's the best firewall? What's the best configuration for that? The ones that will support how we work with you. So that's what they do. It's actually access to, I want to use the number 48, but I think it's actually 28 network engineers of all their specialties. And there's a person who specializes in Active Directory. There's a person who specializes in just backup programs. There's someone that specializes in virtualization, and we have access to all of those engineers. Not 24/7, but essentially that much. If there's a hardware problem in our network, they take care of it for us.
As they have in the past 2 days.
As they have in the past 2 days.
We've had somebody from SimQuest here all day Friday, all day today because of network issues, and that's included in the fee. If we had brought them in we made the decision not to bring them in over the weekend, we would have paid extra for that, but we seem to have it back up and running right now, so.
Just about.
And that was that's included in the charge.
So it looks like, Jackie, rather than 5, there's 28 people, additional people out there helping us.
Well, you know, where I was, at least 5 people did those things,
Yeah.
and the cleanup alone. I mean, if you can do it during the night, it's so much better, but cleaning up the space, fixing the issues, I mean, that could go on forever, and installing things.
We do get, both Sherry and myself, anytime there's anything that goes wrong, we'll call it wrong, in the network, there's an immediate email flag to our accounts that says, SimQuest is working for you. Here's the problem we've identified, and here's the status. Is it priority? Is it mission critical? You know, can it be taken care of overnight or tomorrow morning? An automated email back when it's done and what they've done to fix it. Also, a monthly monitoring report that gives us a health status of our network, which tells us servers that have been patched, things that are repaired, an overall checkup each month. That's multiple pages about how we're doing, what needs to happen, and what direction we need to go in. So it's proven very helpful.
What backup strategy did they suggest?
It depends on the server we want to back up, but we are looking at using probably backup exec and pushing that to disk storage here on site.
So you have to get more towers.
So more rack servers. Right?
Again, it's worth remembering, what prompted this was the concern of our auditors because of our vulnerability of our financial information that was on this network. So, thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Next part of my report, I have fresh from Marie Pierre. She handed them as I walked in here. These are her latest adult education program. Anything you want to add, Marie Pierre, about this? We're going to put Marie Pierre on we knew this agenda was going to get full. We're going to put her on future agenda to talk about the fall program, but we wanted you to have the brochure. But anything you would like to add now?
Oh, feel free to promote all these courses to all your friends. We do have a lot of very good courses, especially with iPads. Computer courses are really very popular. We are trying to offer these courses as well to teachers. And it's been interesting to see that the trend is really towards the technology. The courses that are really very popular are the ones in technology and manufacturing. We've had a tremendous support from the local companies that send me instructors that are willing to start new classes for us. So for the first time, we are going to have a CNC class, which we haven't had in a while. The SolidWorks class is almost already full, and we had the first one in the spring. So the collaboration with the local companies, industries, and businesses is also going very well. We also have more and more people from neighboring states, Massachusetts and New York. And they have been telling me how lucky we are to have the CDC. And I said, of course. So tell your friends, you know. And we are beginning to get teachers from Music Falls Central and also from Saint-Gobain, and, you know, same with Massachusetts. So
Good.
if you have any questions.
Looks great.
Thank you. And as I did last semester, we actually have two versions of the brochure. This, which is very popular, but also one that looks more like a booklet, and I left it on my desk, that we do give to HR people so that they can advise their employees, or also to the local federal and state agencies so that they can help the people that come to them and make recommendations as far as the courses go. We go with both formats because both are very popular. So.
And did you distribute these around the community?
Yes, actually, my distributor is located over there in the corner. I think he's met every HR person and a laundromat and a bookstore.
I think your potluck dinner and giving awards was great.
Very popular. It was amazing, the support. I didn't get a chance to talk about that, but both the students and the instructors love being acknowledged. And if you're interested, you're very welcome to come. But it was a very joyful, very happy, very proud moment for all of us. Thank you.
Some items that I've been talking to you about that have kind of got bumped from the agenda tonight because we weren't ready for them. Our Perkins grant has not received full state approval yet. They're one tick away from giving it to us. The email at 11:30 this morning was, we're all set except for one more thing they want to ask. So I'll give you a report on that and what we need to address under that for the October meeting. The other report, the Schiller report is still out there. One of the goals that you gave me this year was to continue at the Schiller report, and one of the issues there is the student information system report on whether we stay with Rediker or go to Infinite Vision as the report recommended. So we're going to give you a full report on the pros and cons and what we think works best for us and whether we are going to accept or reject that. And that will also be at the October meeting, along with class size numbers, which will be based on the October 15 report when we report to the state. But I want to end my report from you tonight is one more piece of our marketing approach. First week of school, we launched our Facebook page. I don't know if any of you have seen it. I don't know if any of you have given us a like. We're going to bring that up for you now and show you a little about it. And I also want to mention, I don't know if you noticed our granite sign out by the street. Dave Dents and his students cleaned that up. You couldn't even see the sign, and there'll be some photos on our Facebook page of it. But they took away the overgrown shrubbery and cleaned it all up, so now you can read the sign. And we discovered that there actually is lighting under there, though I wouldn't trust it, so we have an electrician come in and look at it so that that sign can be lit, but there is some old lighting there at night. So Mike, if you're ready to display our Facebook page.
So we built Facebook over last spring and into the summertime so that when we launched it, it was complete. And school has started. We are adding stuff to it daily. It's very interesting. For those of you that are familiar with Facebook, you know of cover pages and whatnot. We've had, this doesn't seem like much, but 74 likes in about less than 2 weeks. Close to 1,600 page hits of various students and whatnot. The way we have it laid out is, of course, your timeline, and teachers are submitting information to me and us daily. There's some students out front today. They were doing forms for building trades. Teachers are taking pictures with their iPads, videos, sending them right to the office to be uploaded, which is pretty neat. Each program has their own photo album. So cosmetology, building trades, forestry.
And like Mike said, that's one thing we're seeing, one of the bonuses. When we gave the teachers the iPads, we said, we're not the experts on how you're going to use these. We want you to use them, play with them, tell us how you're going to interact with them. One thing we hadn't been counting on is how many pictures and videos we're getting for the Facebook page that they're taking with their iPads, which I don't even remember that coming up in our discussions when we were planning this.
So we built the page from the CDC under construction, which is kind of neat to look at. And I'm not going to go through every picture here tonight, but we started off in the late 60s with the CDC we know today, and then the tech center being constructed to look familiar to you, but much different. A lot of these photos were uncovered back in the storage room, and they were scanned and uploaded over time so that people could see the center. You'll recognize the automotive shop in the atrium area there.
My office.
Marie Pierre's office. It's kind of neat to look at. So hit up our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/SVCDC. There are a couple older pages out there. We're working to get those consolidated with Facebook, so there's only one image and one page for the tech center. I don't know what else I can. It's new. It's pretty neat. Jim was mentioning about the sign out front being cleaned up. Here's forestry working on it. Mr. Dents sends these photos to me. He had a video here today of his students raking out and getting topsoil ready to go. There is sound, but we're having a problem with it on this. So they've cleaned out all the brush and undergrowth.
Yeah.
So that's our Facebook page. It's ever growing. Students are excited about it. I know teachers are excited about it, and it's a great tool to promote our tech center and our programs.
Maybe we need to put a picture of our school board on there too, on the Facebook page.
You can do that.
Take one, it's your iPad.
Yes, thank you, Mike. All right, so that concludes the superintendent's report for this evening. Again, I think it was a good start. It's been very busy. I want to thank the staff, faculty for their patience, particularly with the internet problems of the past 2 days. But I think we have that corrected for now, and looking forward to the rest of the year.
Good, good. Thank you, both Mike and Marie-Pierre as well, for those excellent reports. The chair's report, I'm going to just briefly touch upon the solar project that I'm working with the business manager, Jim Marsden, as far as, I've given you a handout here. We're looking, the handout tells you how incentives are for the state of Vermont and what they do, how the system works. Basically, we don't store any power if we put up solar panels. All right, all the electricity goes back into the grid that is produced, and we are paid additional 6 cents a kilowatt that we produce. So they pay more, 6 cents more than what we pay for if we were to buy it from the power company. There's some real rough estimates about how many panels it would take and a cost payback over the life of the system. All this is very premature. It's under discussion. Mr. Mars and Mr. Pembroke and myself are attending seminars and webinars on this to learn more about it. Funding, of course, is the biggest issue. How would you fund a project this big? It's about a $3 million project on this particular estimate that involves solar panels on the entire building location here, the roof. They'd go onto the roof line. We've had them look at the roofs, and we've looked at solar or satellite images of how much sun this roof would collect. So it's all preliminary, but as information develops, and we are working with the community and other organizations about funding. So we'll keep you up to date as to how that progresses. But as this report shows, if it could save us over $5.5 million over a period of, I think, 28 years if we were to get down this route. Our electric bill in this whole building is about $1 million a year. So that alone is pretty staggering. Okay, the other thing is I want to remind the board that we are going to be going in this fall into teachers' negotiations. I'm looking for anybody that wants to volunteer to be on that negotiation team. You can contact me about that, okay? And let's see, I think that's all I've got for the chair's report. We do have an executive session scheduled to address personnel issue. So can I have a motion to move into an executive session?
So moved.
Moved by Ed and seconded by Leon. All those in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. We'll retire to executive session then. Thank you.
We're coming back for some action.
Teacher negotiations start.